Hi everyone, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. This is the daily forecast for all signs. It is a broad spectrum reading as we speak in broad terms. You need to figure out if and where it fits in your life, if at all. If it doesn't fit, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's broken or wrong. You're not wrong on your path. It just may not be your reading today. It's originally created for Wednesday, the 19th of July, but it's not solely set for that date. If you're seeing it on a different date and what I'm saying resonates with the situation you're dealing with, by all means utilize the reading when you see it. I do believe that Spirit has a way of having the readings find us when we need them rather than what they were originally created for. For those of you that are new, please check out the drop-down menu underneath any of my daily videos. In there is some housekeeping rules, just things I want you to think about when utilizing the channel. What decks I'm using in the reading, and how to follow me on social media. If you're interested in a private reading, you would need to direct message me either at my Instagram or my Facebook business page. Please note that I will never reach out to you to sell you a reading, so if anybody were to direct message you to initiate the sale of a reading, it's not me. I do believe that Spirit has a way of having the people that need the readings when they need them find their way to me, so keep that in mind. The other thing about the drop-down menu is easy ways you can support the channel. You can do so by hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the content, and hitting the notification bell. I do put up daily content. Sharing the video out, leaving me a question or comment, all of those things greatly help. Another thing that also helps is watching the video in its entirety. It helps to boost my watch hours for the algorithm, I guess. So keep that in mind. The other thing that you should know is that I will be referring back to the Sunday underpinning energy. That is the reading that takes place on Sunday, and it's a layer of energy for the week that kind of underpins what we look at daily throughout the rest of the week. So if you hear me mentioning cards that you don't necessarily see in this reading, I'm usually referring back to that video. That populates in the lower left corner at the end of this reading, so you can see that if you choose to do so. So let's see what Spirit wants us to know and be aware of for today. Okay, so our card for the day is the King of Wands, leadership and success. So Wands is fire, and it's the element of spirit or our desire. It can oftentimes be about travel, it can be about vision, it can be about desire and what we really truly want at the deepest depths of our soul. Sometimes Wands energy can be about ego. It can be about pushing agendas or, going after our outcome with the sole purpose of achieving it, right? Without listening to others or taking others into account, right? The King of Wands can be associated with the fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. So some of you could be dealing with somebody like that or have heavy placements of those signs in your chart. But this is about, and we also have that new moon, right, that takes place on Monday. New moons are about creation. So when I see this King of Wands, I'm kind of excited for him because he would be the card that would have the authority, the capability to sort of see the vision, the bigger picture, the long haul goal of what it is that we desire or what it is that we want, right? He puts forth that sort of energy of taking action, making movement, traveling towards our goal, putting it into being or making it happen, beginning to formulate the path, the plan, the map towards it, right? And he's going to be very adept at that. He's not necessarily going to be the most practical king in how we go about getting there. There could be opportunities for, like visioning or daydreaming about where we want to be and really feeling or sensing that feeling within ourselves deep at a spirit level. And as we feel that, we can potentially begin to manifest it. The King of Wands can be about impulse, so there could be impulsive decisions being made today or quick decisions towards getting us where we need to be without necessarily thinking of others or taking them into account. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be, but it's not always, if that makes sense. So I think it's okay. What he's telling me is it's okay to put ourselves first and be maybe a little bit selfish or self-driven today in the decisions that we make, in the goals that we set, in the plans that we put out there, right? He is the one that would be all about sort of the plan and taking action and not necessarily slowing down to consult with everyone else about, is this good for you? Because it's good for me. It's like he doesn't care. He does what's good for him. Let's see what the cosmic insights is. Ooh, spy. Someone's got their eye on you. You are doing your research. There could be somebody here that wants to consult us on what it is we want or with the direction that we're moving in, and they're not in alignment with it. This could be a friend, family member, or a romantic person that we're involved in that could be watching us from afar, even if we don't know it. It's funny to me because it looks like the way that the man is positioned on the spy card with the magnifying glass is pointing directly at the King of Wands, but the King of Wands is almost turning his head away and shutting his eyes to it, like almost like, again, what I said earlier about consulting others about our desires isn't necessarily the most important thing to us on hand today. The lead-in to the readings this week, there's been these tower moments, death, the underpinning energy is the death card, transformations, cycles. We've been seeing all of this stuff. We could be cycling out of a certain way that we are in a relationship with a certain person. And we have to do that. We have to do that so that we can achieve whatever it is our greater goal is. The King of Wands is not going to slow down because somebody is either spying or not in alignment with where we're heading or the choices we're making, or they don't fully understand those choices, right? That's not really important to the King of Wands. He really doesn't care. He just is about doing what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. And that's sort of also why his face is turned away and his eyes are shut. It's like he's keeping that vision in his mind eye of where he needs to be, where he wants to be, how he wants it to feel. And if there's anyone like kind of spying from the sidelines, or just be aware of energy that might be trying to tell us, no, you can't do that, or no, you shouldn't do that. It may not be so like readily apparent, like somebody may not be saying this to us directly, but they're definitely kind of watching us, taking note, and could be, I almost want to say, throwing us energy or thoughts or feelings that aren't in alignment with who we are or what we want to do. And that's a very specific message. It just feels really weird, but that's what I need to say. All right, here is the Star Maiden card. This is a major arcana card that comes from the sort of the higher self or our spirit guides. This is the High Priest, wisdom. So this is the Hierophant. He is about higher spiritual truth, right? He is about Virgo energy. No, sorry, Taurus energy, which he is going to be about grounded, spiritual, higher knowledge in a very practical manner. He knows what he wants and he understands what he deserves. He's about higher institutional learning, but at a more spiritual soul sort of level. And so I almost feel like with the King of Wands and the Hierophant here, it's like we've done the reflection, we've done the work, we've made the decision. Others may not like the decision that we've made or the direction that we're headed in, or they're quietly questioning it from the sidelines, but that's not stopping us. I like that the Hierophant is here because I feel like he sort of helps to balance out and ground this King of Wands energy, so that even if we are feeling like we're making decisions from impulse, the Hierophant with this energy kind of potentially driving us, those spiritual answers or decisions that we're making are grounded in solid like sort of values or understandings or awareness of who we are and what we deserve. And so I do feel that there's an empowered space here, even if we feel like we're moving too quickly or jumping to make a decision. We're being driven by something a little bit more deeper or solid and aware of the grand scheme of things with the Hierophant here. So let's look at the clarifiers. We have the Eight of Swords, the Magician, which is like Mercury energy, Virgo, and I believe, is it Aries? I can't remember. And then the Two of Swords. So when I flip the Eight of Swords and now seeing the Two of Swords, it kind of feels like there is outside opinion around us that's telling us not to do what we're doing or not to make the choice that we're making, or they're indirect, like the Two of Swords to me isn't necessarily this person. I feel like the Eight of Swords is this person that could be spying or telling us, no, you can't do that, or trying to limit us in some way, whether it's a friend or family member or partner. They're trying to keep us kind of bound by that Eight of Swords, telling us like maybe the path isn't there, or that's not possible, or what are you doing? This isn't part of the plan. The Two of Swords to me is almost like our answer to that is to draw that boundary, to trust our intuition, to close out those opinions. Those two swords across her chest almost feels like she's blocking it and saying, no, I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to acknowledge you. We also have the King of Wands with his eyes shut and the blindfold on the Two of Swords. It really is about this trusting of our intuition and our emotions, how we feel. Those things tap us into what our soul desires, right? The Magician is about creative, pure force energy. He has all of the elements at his disposal. This is a time to create something new, to not set limitations on ourselves. Underpinning this, because this is Wednesday's reading, is that Six of Swords, which is moving to calmer waters, clearer communication, becoming more balanced in harmony with how we think, feel, or communicate around a situation. We may be saying things at this point that other people aren't necessarily enjoying, agreeing with, or liking, but I don't think that that matters to us. And I don't mean that from a selfish, bad place. I just mean from a place of, that limits me, and I don't want to be in that limitation. I don't want to be tied down to this thing, this situation anymore. I need to go about creating something new. So I need to draw boundaries or say no to this and get about creating what it is that I do want. There's a lot of, with the Hierophant and the Magician here, both major arcana, there's a lot of empowered sort of energy. There's a lot of divine masculine energy in this reading, actually, with the King of Wands also. So we're taking action today. We're making decisions today to push ourselves forward, regardless of what limitations, say, a situation, a relationship, or a person in our life may place upon us. We're not buying into that. It's almost like I feel like that Two of Swords, that no that I get from the Two of Swords, brings about the clarity of the Six of Swords that's in the underpinning reading from Sunday. It brings about that clarity because actually, when you think about it mathematically, 8 minus 2 is 6. So, if somebody's trying to put 8 swords around us to bind us to a situation or keep us held in a certain idea of lack or limitation, we take away 2 swords, we end up leading ourselves, in which that 2 swords to me feels like a boundary or a truth that we feel or intuit. We almost open up the door for that Six of Swords to take place and that balance or that harmony to resound in our mind, in our thoughts, in how we communicate and move us forward towards a more peaceful outcome or a more aligned position in our life. Now let's go to the grounding stone. Okay, the grounding stone is friends. So when I think about this, it's fine to consult our friends on where we're heading or our thoughts or our ideas, using them as sounding boards. But I also think, and I think that's some of the meaning of this, like where we can find support and what it is we want to do or where it is we want to head, we need to seek that support. But I also feel like this friends could be part of that spy energy. Like, in other words, be careful who you throw your information out to, because you don't want their experience to naysay what you feel capable of creating. And they may mean that from the most loving of places, but it places this potential limitation on you through the Eight of Swords that clouds your vision in a way, or wants to attempt to keep you where you are. God forbid, sometimes our friends and family, with the best of intentions, they don't want us to change. They want us to stay in the roles that we're used to us being in. Even in our relationships, they don't, if it's a romantic relationship you guys are talking about or looking at, they don't necessarily want us to change. So just be aware of who you confide in. And I don't think that this is a warning as much as it's just like, yes, find friends that support you, but also be aware of those friends when they offer loving advice. Is this advice limiting me in any way? Is sort of the vibe that I'm getting. And then we get to decide which advice to take in and on board and which advice to not take on board through that Two of Swords, right? Ultimately, I don't think that this is fully about advice because we see the Hierophant and the Magician here. These are like singular male cards of the major arcana that are about making decisions on their own from their own sense of spiritual truth and their connection to God, source, and spirit. And so that's the answer here, is staying connected to that, making decisions from that. Yes, bounce those decisions off of your friends or find the support in areas where you need to that actually support you and move you forward in that. But be aware of potential people that may be well-meaning that aren't necessarily giving us the encouragement or the belief that we might be seeking. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I think it does. So that is your reading for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, leave me a message or a comment on the video or a question, and share the video out. I greatly appreciate it. We will see how this energy shifts and changes tomorrow. Have a wonderful day and take care. Bye-bye.